So if the words Bitcoin and crypto wallet makes you feel instantly behind in your divorce, don't blink, because today my guest is literally teaching attorneys how to master cryptocurrency in divorce. And he's going to show you what to ask, what to look for, and how to protect yourself before crypto becomes the asset you never knew that you lost. So welcome back. Welcome to Divorcing Strong, the podcast that pulls no punches when it comes to divorce. I'm Becky Sampson, better known as Bulldog Becky Brockovich, and I'm here to give you the straight talk, the strategies, and the subpoena secrets you won't hear anywhere else. With expert guests and proven advice, you'll learn your rights, your options, and gain your power that encourages a fair and equitable outcome. Divorce doesn't have to break you. It can build you. Let's get to it. Oh, welcome back, everyone. This is Becky Sampson. I am the host of Divorcing Strong podcast, and every week I do the best I can to get out there and find the resources helping you divorce strong, because I believe that the more you know, the more educated you are, the better you're going to be able to come through this process empowered and peaceful. So, all right. Well, we are excited about today's episode because we're talking about something called crypto. And not a lot of people know about crypto. It's still a fairly new thing that's out there, and how every once in a while it kind of comes up in this divorce, and where someone's like, hey, my husband or my wife, somebody's invested in crypto. What is this? How do we navigate that, and where do we find the information on that? So today, my guest, let me just tell you a little bit about my guest. On today's episode of Divorcing Strong, I'm joined by Kyle Sellett. He's a partner at Wise, Coons & Oliver in the Chicago area. And I want you to picture this. You're standing in the middle of a process you never asked for, where the rules feel unwritten, the stakes feel personal, and every email can spike your heart rate. That's the reality for so many people going through divorce, especially when kids, support, complex finances are on the table. Kyle works in this exact space with complex divorce, helping clients navigate asset division, maintenance, child support, and the painful decision that follow big life challenges. However, what makes today's conversation especially important is that Kyle also teaches attorneys on cryptocurrency in divorce proceedings, and his firm handles cases involving hidden assets, the kind of money that can disappear through transfers, commingling accounts, and even crypto. He's been recognized as a super lawyer's rising star, and he brings both strategy and steadiness to situations that feel anything but steady. So stay tuned, because if you ever worried about you're about to sign a settlement that while money is still missing, this episode is for you. So welcome to the show, Kyle.
Thank you, Becky. What heck of an introduction. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
I know all of my guests are like, whoa, that's me. I love it.
It was great.
Well, thank you. Well, thank you for taking the time to come on the show today. And it's going to be very valuable for a lot of people that don't know a lot about crypto and how that is affected in this divorce space. So the first question I'd love to ask my guests is kind of, what's your backstory and what got you to this point? Briefly, just to say that now you're in the divorce space and helping people through the crypto.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I guess it was kind of a weird journey. It wasn't like I planned on, being a family law attorney dealing with divorce, but I come from a very very blended family unit, can you say? Like, my mom and my dad were never married, separated, made it work. I have a stepdad who's been my dad since I was, 3 years old. I have a great, stepmother now. I have 6 brothers and sisters. So and I've seen the family unit work, and I've seen it not work. And I think I'm a little empathetic to the situation, and I'm able to know what my clients are going through and what they're feeling, and really connect with them on that level, and understand the situation. It's not easy to traverse, the waters that you're going through when you go through this process. And when you're the professional dealing with that, you have to understand where a person's coming from, and the client management's also a big thing in our arena, and something else I think I excel at. So I don't know, kind of, I kind of made my way to it, and just got going, and here we are.
Well, it's funny. It's almost every attorney I bring onto the show says a very similar story. They didn't decide when they were younger to be the divorce attorney, and to be in this space. It kind of led them to here. I know before we started the show, you talked about the fact that you kind of, when you started seeing that people needed support in crypto, that you had to go do a bunch of research to get in there. And now you're teaching attorneys?
Yeah. So what happened is through the DuPage County Bar Association, which I'm a part of, the family law chair who they put on the CLEs for attorneys reached out to me about doing a presentation, and I decided, I always like to bite off a little more than I can chew, I guess. So I decided on cryptocurrency because it was an area where I will say, like, right off the bat, I'm not actively involved in it. But it doesn't mean I don't need to, know about it. So I gave myself that task of educating myself and then being able to educate others. And I thought that, it was good for everybody. So I'm happy I did it. It seemed like when I was going through it, and I know we talked a little bit about, your involvement in crypto, but it's like, as I started digging, you find an answer. It's like, oh, another question. There's find an answer, and then, oh, another question. And then, so it was very interesting that, and challenging in that respect. But I'm glad, I kind of have the at least general knowledge to know how it works, what resources we have in front of us to use, where, to guide our clients, so you can have those, those conversations, and you can be knowledgeable on the topic.
Yeah, well, I think that's really important. And you said something it feels like every time you go to get an answer, you end up with another question. And that's a lot of like divorce as well. So I'm actually excited to learn from you today too on crypto, because I know you've got a presentation which is a little unusual than what we do. However, I'm really excited about this because I know that that so much of what you have researched, and it's going to become more and more prevalent in divorce as we get close, more and more people involved in it. So it is a major issue. So yeah, take it away. I know you've got an amazing presentation about it.
Yeah. And I want to say, like, as we go through, feel free, keep the conversation open, keep going, and anything you think someone would ask, just jump in. I will say, when I did this the first time, I said, no questions till the end. But when we're doing it, feel free to fire away.
Well, and the thing, Kyle, the way that it's interesting because I try to listen to the show in from the perspective of the listener. So yeah, if there's a question that comes up and I'm like, okay, what does that mean? And because I really value giving information to people who may be watching this that don't know anything about this, and be able to get those answers while they're watching. So yeah, so let me add it. There you go. Have at it.
Okay. Just going to bring this back to the beginning. So again, this is just the slideshow that we put together for my presentation, Mastering Cryptocurrency and Divorce. Again, I'm Kyle Sellett, partner of Weiss, Oliver. I know Becky's going to be real good about getting anybody who wants my information the same.
Yes.
But when I did this, I just started from the ground, what is crypto? That's the first thing I knew. When I was giving it, there would be attorneys in there who just had no idea, or where do you even start? So you can't jump in the middle immediately. Okay, how do you go find it? For us as professionals, we need to know first, understand what it is, where it came from, kind of what these origins are. So, looking into it, is this Satoshi Nakamoto. I don't know if you're familiar with this, that he's the one who came up with it, that it was this white paper that he put out there online about Bitcoin, and really about the blockchain and how crypto operates on the blockchain.
Mm-hmm.
And the problem he was trying to solve was how to take out the middleman in transactions for anywhere around the world. So different countries, different continents, whatever. How do you take out that middleman, aka the bank, pretty much, right? and have it be between just two people, and then also keep track of that.
Mm-hmm.
So really, what it was, the solution was the blockchain, and that was really the first concept where I had to like wrap my head around this idea of a blockchain and exactly how that gets added to, what's going on with it. And it's just really interesting. The blockchain, I'm sure you know a little bit about it, but it's this open, transparent record of all the transactions. Everything gets logged on there, and then it's getting added to every 10 minutes. That's, from my research, that's what I found. And the interesting thing about Bitcoin is when you add to the block, it's rewarding you with Bitcoin.
Yes.
Right. And that's different from any other cryptocurrency. It really doesn't work any other way. And so that's where you come up with this idea of Bitcoin mining, which at the beginning, I think when this was starting, it was, you heard things about people with their, they're like at their homes, or they have servers running in their houses or whatever. Now it just seems like much bigger operations, much more challenging. And we'll get to how those rewards are having, and it's kind of the cost benefit that's coming into play with that. But it is just like you're not going to find anybody in their basement anymore mining Bitcoin. That's pretty much what it's come down to.
It's a little bit too big of a monster at this point. I think it's interesting because I know when I was first introduced to it many years ago, and I just thought, what is this crazy stuff? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
But it really is. I mean, now it's becoming the digital gold, and there's a lot of things that you can do with it. And so a lot of people are seeing this as a viable investment. Because of it. And when it comes to divorce, right, they're putting their investments in there.
Yeah, absolutely. So, and I did just like when I was doing my presentation, it's a lot of people are thinking of Bitcoin. They're thinking of, I have up here Ethereum, I Dogecoins, but those are ones that are more popular. But when you're talking about like the highest market caps, that really is at this point, like, this list right here, these major cryptocurrencies. I mean, some of these I'd never heard of before. I had no idea what was going on. Like, but really, I guess when you're looking at assets, they're going to be those meme coins or whatever. But I think right here, this list, you have some major players up there where you see one of those and you say, okay, there may be some value here. Because I know people who've lost a lot of money messing around with the things that pump and dump or do anything like that, or just go to zero. But there's these market caps are pretty significant for some of these. So I guess going further from that, it was just after you do that, after you identify where they are, what how they operate, what they are, how they get there, and it's like how, again, going back to where my mind was going, it's like how do I put a value on it? Like, where does it come from? We all kind of understand like the dollar and how it's backed, back here and all that, but like, where does the value in these cryptocurrencies come from besides what the people give it themselves? And scarcity was one of the things that I found. Bitcoins are going to stop at, I think it's like 21 million, and there's like 19 million. I don't know if you can tell me, I think I have the number somewhere in here, but 19 million in circulation now or something. But the way that they're getting halved, and it's going to, I think, the long way down the line before they stop, being produced or appearing, however you want to put it.
Right.
But the second thing is going to be utility in the real world application, that people can take these, they can use them online to buy things. Like certain platforms are taking Bitcoin or Ethereum they're backing those. The security around them, the fact that, the safer they are, the more secure you feel in your investment, with one over the other, is going to make a difference. And
I think we might have just lost.
Really going through that, Are you back? Okay. Sorry, I saw you fall off too.
I know.
Okay. Good.
Yep, we're good. Hopefully we can still keep listening because this is really important stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. No. So next, it's like, okay, now you know where you are. And again, I think this is from A to Z. What every practitioner should know when they're dealing with this is like, okay, how do you get them? How do you buy them? And I started researching, brokerage accounts or crypto exchanges, Coinbase, Binance, those types of things. And it's literally as easy as creating an account, depositing cash, purchasing it, and then you can pick your storage method. And the storage methods are, I think it's pretty straightforward. You can keep it on the exchange, just like I think you would do with like a Robinhood or anything like that. It's on there. You can put it in a hot wallet, which I understand is still connected online. So there are some security issues there. And then, but if people can, hack into it, which I don't think it's very common. I didn't get too deep into the, like, people stealing other, people's crypto, but it doesn't sound like it's a gigantic issue. I don't know if you've heard differently, but
it is. It because it is digital. I think. I mean, I'm no expert in it. However, I do know that the most secure way is to doing a cold wallet. And really, as it pertains to, and I'm sure you're probably going to get to this, is like in divorce, is that usually it's one spouse that's doing this and the other one doesn't know what. They don't know anything about it. So I love this education of going, in order to have crypto, you need to have it on exchange, or it's going to be in one of these three areas, one of these places.
Yeah, exactly. And then the cold wallet is, I think people are most familiar with the cold wallet because that's the horror story of like, oh, I have 50 Bitcoins on a wallet that I can't access anymore because I forgot the password, right? So that's when you have it on like Flash or wherever they store it and they can't remember the pass key, right? So otherwise, that's why one or two, the exchange or the wallet, you don't have as much of a risk of like losing it, because if you can't remember that, whatever your passkey was, it's kind of gone.
No, and that is a real thing. I mean, we actually heard of a story the other day of somebody locally. It had a bunch of Bitcoin that from years ago, and it was on an old hard drive, and it went into the landfill, and they would not let him go to the landfill. He's like, look, I'll give you, it was like $1 billion worth of Bitcoin or something. And he's like, I'll give you so much every person. And they still would not let him go get his hard drive. Because
I will buy the landfill.
Yeah, exactly. There are some horror stories out there, you know what I mean? So yes.
Yeah. But then, moving into as it pertains to divorce, right? The tactics used to conceal. So again, the anonymous wallets, moving funds around. Once you get it off the exchange, get it offline. More difficult to trace. And I saw these things where this concept of these crypto mixers, where you can throw a bunch of crypto into it, and then I think it jumbles it up, it blends the transactions, and it really makes it hard to go back and trace them. So obviously the underreporting, your holdings, that's asset disclosures. We deal with that all the time. I know the NFTs really aren't a thing anymore, but if you take it and you transition the money to something else or use it to purchase something else, going offshore, of course, and trading the crypto for goods or services, you can transfer it and buy. I don't know, I'm sure people saw anything for it out there, if the price is right. So there are definitely ways that spouses can hide this, for sure. It's one of the easier things to do in terms of the assets, right? Because of how hard it can be to trace. But there are a lot of ways that we can, get at those answers. So your standard discovery, Becky, this subpoena.
Yes, I'm the subpoena queen.
Subpoena queen. So whether that's Binance, Coinbase, all the Kraken, like those are some of the bigger ones that I threw up there. You can send them subpoenas. They will respond to those subpoenas and get your information there. I've actually seen, they'll give you like transaction Excel sheets that show, how much was purchased, the price, and everything going. So apparently, they can appear on tax returns too. If you're getting rid of them, or if you sell them, if there's capital gain, I believe they should be on the taxes. So there'd be something in there. And then you have our more, our standard discovery process, our financial affidavits people need to, and you can hope and pray that they just do the right thing. And,
So Kyle, can I ask you a question here? Is this more of a job of the attorney, and you're teaching the attorneys to look more deeply in this, or is this more of a financial forensics kind of thing to do?
Right. Well, that's perfect timing. It's almost like you knew that was coming.
No, I didn't know what you were. I'm just that's a thought that's come to my mind.
No. I think the what to understand is there's a certain amount we can do.
Yeah.
And then it's out of our hands, right?
Yep.
I mean, as attorneys, as divorce attorneys, I know we have so much in our toolbox in terms of experts and the forensic accountants, those type of things that you can reach for if you need help, and that's what absolutely you should be doing if that's what it calls for, right? And this is going to cost money. Of course, it's any expert getting involved, it's additional money. So then really it's talking with your client about I always go back to the cost benefit analysis. How much, how much do you think we might have out there? How much, because this is going to cost 5, 10, 15, 20,000, however, to, get to the bottom of it. And if there's a couple Bitcoins out there, great, totally worth it. Right. But if it's a big, nothing burger, then not really money well spent, right?
So that actually brings up something that's important is that, so for maybe someone that's listening, the difference between forensics, they do the forensics, right? They can do the research, but they also need the documents. So you need the attorney to do the subpoena, right? To be able to get the documents so that the forensics can do that. And obviously the more you don't have to involve more people in it, the less it gets, usually. Because they're not cheap. And so I think that's what you're saying is that just getting some of this information and tracing it, you have to be able to look at, are we going to invest this much money in searching for it, whether it's subpoenas or forensics or your time, or is it worth it or not? That's where your strategy comes in.
Yeah, absolutely. And like now they have like on here, this blockchain analysis. So these forensic accounting firms, I think they're teaming up with, other companies who specialize in blockchain analysis, and they're working with them to get even further into it. And they say, okay, it's here. Now go find all the transactions for me that they may not be able to do themselves, right? Yeah. I know that there was a firm who just gave a presentation on that, or a forensic accounting firm who just gave a presentation on how they were working with someone now separately that was in the crypto space that could help them to, trace all this and get bottom of it. So even they're using, that's another, that could be another layer, or I don't know if that's built into the contract. I haven't done that yet, but if it's built into the contract, that this could be another third party that gets brought in, that's a possibility. But really where for the attorneys, and I'm sure everybody knows this, it's, but this is Illinois law, right? So I was doing DCBA, DuPage County. But all of this falls under property. It's no different than an investment account. So that's what we're looking at for, because we have to consider, is it premarital? What, was it commingled? And all the same considerations that you get with anything else. So nothing crazy there.
Yeah, I think that's important to remember, is that even though you may not understand what crypto is, or even weren't the one that invested, that is still it could be possibly a marital asset to be considered, just like every other asset.
Yeah, absolutely. And just like any other marital asset, it can be, well, cash or cash equivalents and retirement, it can be dissipated,
Right.
So dissipation in Illinois, I'm not sure the terms they use in other states, but it's using money, marital money, for a non-marital purpose. And so
Right.
I think the most famous example of that is, it could be like gambling, or, if you have a significant other. But really with this, it's a little more narrow, because it is an investment. So what I focused in on then for Illinois purposes, and because it's so new, I had to go to other states as well to see kind of what exactly was going on everywhere else, right? So I found some examples here, and basically this top one is not crypto, but it's the same as he left his employment to get into high-risk day trading, lost money, and then they said, while the marriage was deteriorating, that's one of the factors. And then, they came back in divorce proceedings, wife, and said, well, he dissipated all those assets, right?
Yeah.
And the appellate court upheld the finding of dissipation. Husband appealed it, and the appellate court upheld the finding, and stated that although investment activity can be legitimate, reckless financial behavior combined with concealment and clear financial harm during a breakdown is dissipation. So transparency and intent, key factors, right? He tried to hide it and it didn't go well. But then there was a Connecticut case that we found. It's kind of saying the other thing, financial loss alone is not the opposite, right? Alone does not constitute. But if it's legitimate trading, the spouse knew about it, if it was in good faith transparency. So, it's not always that. It's not just like, oh, you made a risky investment, I should get my money back for that. The other spouse, if you're telling your spouse about it, if they're kind of on board with it, then you may just be out of luck.
Yeah, and I think that's something that people really get scared about too sometimes in divorce, is that they think, oh, they're spending all this, or they're hiding all of this and stuff like that, or they're taking and dissipating and withdrawing all this cash. And I'm like, well, it's kind of part of the division. And they pre-front their portion,
Yeah.
That not always, but it doesn't, just because it's being hidden doesn't mean it's actually gone. So
right, exactly. Well, so I think I have an example of that in one of these here. But in one of this California case, the husband purchased, transferred Bitcoin, concealed the records, failed to disclose any of the information, and he was sanctioned for it and ordered to pay up for it. So the courts know that the structure of crypto increases the risk of concealment, and the non-disclosure and transfers during a breakdown can be strong indicators of dissipation-like conduct. So if they can't find it, they can still tag you with it if they want to, right? So that's the same thing this case in the bottom is saying too. When they can't find it, if they think it's out there, they can tag you with it. They can assign a value to it. They can take it from other assets. Yeah, it can they'll figure out a way to make it work, so they can get to an equitable result for the spouse that they feel is being harmed.
Right. Yeah, and that's what I want people to know, is that just because they are trying to conceal does not mean that you're still not entitled to that. And so it's really, every case is a little bit different, as you know.
Yeah, absolutely. And then here's a couple more examples. If people, when they're watching this, want to go through this, that's absolutely fine. But it is more to like, it's all about the tracing. It's all about the intent, or if you're saying they lost money, what's the intent? Is it dissipation? Like I said, non-disclosures, they can tag you with it. So really, it's it's really all circumstantial how people are handling this and then what the court's going to do.
So in your experience, when you've been working with clients, so what do you say to them to help them feel confident that they're still going to be okay, that the marital, because sometimes people feel like, oh my gosh, they're all this money is going and I have no control. Like what do you say to them on that?
Yeah, I think the first conversation that you need to have about them is understand what their knowledge was of it. So it's like, how much did you know about this, or were you just suspicious of this, or did he talk about this? And then you can get to the intent of the other spouse, how the other spouse is acting, and what they were trying to do. And then you can really give okay, we have these different avenues to look at. First, you can tell them all the ways you can go find it, which we went through earlier. So that gives them some reassurance, right? Like, listen, we have all these different tools. We can hunt it down. If it's out there, we will, we'll get it, right? I've had very few or none where we can't just find something, whether it's crypto or something else. Like, usually there's something to trace, right? And then it's looking at the rest of the estate and having that conversation with them where, well, if it's dissipation, we're going to try to get money from this account to, compensate you for it, or another account, like offset it, something like that. So it's really just an honest conversation that you need to have and really look at it. It's just terrible that I've never had a case where that's the only asset. So if that's gone, there's nothing else, right? I understand that would be a scary proposition, right? Like, if that's the only thing, hopefully no one's that highly leveraged in cryptocurrency, but I'm sure there are some people who are. We also have to.
Oh, go ahead.
I was
Sorry.
just going to mention there are some tax implications. No, there are some tax implications we need to be aware of, and keep that in mind. If you're transferring it, or if someone's buying you out and they're cashing it out and they're giving that to you, there could be taxes that you could be liable for, that you need to talk to your attorney about how they're going to deal with that, right? So, but what were you going to say? I'm sorry.
No, I was going to lead into the taxes, because I think some people don't know it's some of the decisions. And again, that's another tax attorney would probably be somebody, or a tax professional, when you are working with these assets, to be able to know what the implications are. Because, I have a client right now that, because of the choices of her spouse, ended up putting her in a lot of she owes a lot of taxes in penalties because of it. So yeah, be very careful.
Yeah, absolutely. And that was really, more or less some hypotheticals. Again, if people want to read those, but the thing I ended, my presentation with was kind of a practitioner checklist. So just like kind of common sense, like run it down. So you're establishing the breakdown date of the marriage for purposes of dissipation. You're looking at all your tools, your discovery requests, all that, using subpoenas, again, distinguishing the activity of the other spouse, getting evaluation, and value offset allocation, just like we were talking about. If it's not here, you can, if it's not there, they can't find it, you can go try to get it from somewhere else, another brokerage account, investment account of some, vehicle of some type. And that's really, what through digging around, like, that's where I got with my kind of my little research project, and I think I'm better off for it. I hope all the attorneys that see this, or were in that in any presentation I've done about it, are more informed.
That's awesome. I said, are you the type of person that I'm imagining that you're the type of person that likes to do the research and likes the hunt to be able to find the information for your clients? Is that correct?
Yeah, I mean, I don't mind, their discovery, to a certain point, it can get a little mind numbing, but going through stuff and nailing things down and finding it can be, it can be exciting. But it also is, again, just like it gives, every time you do it, it gives you a chance to learn. So,
Yeah.
With the knowledge, it just makes you a better practitioner and makes you more prepared for the next one.
So you said earlier that you guys have a lot of different tools to be able to, and resources. So do you have other people within your network too that help people when they come to work with you, or that you refer them to?
You mean like as far as forensic accountants or things like that? Yeah, we have firms that we work with. Absolutely, that are more located. The firms that do that a lot of heavily involved in crypto are more in like Chicago. They're more downtown. But yeah, we have people that we prefer to work with, and we always try to make it. If you can, first thing, it's you let a opposing counsel know there's a problem, right? You see if you can work together to solve it, and then if you have to go do your own thing, you have to go do your own thing. If you can get a neutral financial, forensic accounting, great. If you have and you can split the cost, and the parties one doesn't have to bear all of it and then go hunting for fees later, that's great. But if you have to do your own thing, you have to do your own thing.
Yeah. I think I kind of talked about this on a couple of different shows last week. Is that it's always better if you can ask for what you need and you get what you need. Mm-hmm. However, that doesn't always happen. But I think the message that you have too is that even crypto, even though we don't understand completely, you may not understand what crypto is or even what functions it is, but understanding that there are tools and resources to be able to find out the valuation, like Kyle and his team does, so that you can put that in the equation in order to sit fair and equitable division. Because I'm all for that. You know what I mean? Like Kyle, and you guys probably are the same way too. I think that you want to see people exit this the most fair and equitable as they could have, right? It's not for
I mean, it's I'm very solution driven and problem solving. And fighting back and forth doesn't really solve a lot of problems. Having a plan and figuring all the pieces out, and then how you're going to, cut the pie or, divide it, split all them is how it works. So that's always my preference. We can go whatever, I always say, if we have to do the other thing, then we can do that as well. If we have to go litigate, then we can do that as well. But my firm is very heavy, into mediation and trying to just, have people sit down, keep the courts out of it if they can. And even in mediation, they offer tools where you can go get a forensic accounting, right? You can get a business valuation. I know we're not talking about it. You can do all the things that you need to through a mediation and more or less control your own destiny at least a little bit, right? That's one of the good things about reaching a settlement is at least you have a little say in what's happening. If you leave it all up to a judge, you can never be quite sure.
Yeah, and I say that all the time on the show too. Is you do not want the judge to make the decision on
the judges will tell you that. The judges tell people that.
Yep, they're like, go figure it out, go mediate it, get your attorneys on board, or if you don't have attorneys, talk it out, go get the help and resources. And I think that's the biggest thing that I would like our listeners to take away is that regardless of where you are in your process of the divorce, there are tools and resources out there. And the more you know, the more you can educate yourself, or you educate yourself, and you can make the decisions that you need to. And I mean, if you don't want to chase it, and like you said this too, even if you don't want to chase it, then that's a choice that you make as well. But just at least know what your rights are, and then you can make the decisions that are going to help you navigate through this divorce. Because it's not easy. It's not easy.
I feel like that's one of our biggest things that we do, right? Is we give people the options. We advise on how we would handle it, and then people will make their own choices. You know.
Well, that is a very, very important aspect in divorce, is to be able to co-create with your attorney to be able to navigate through this so that you can come out better. So, no, Kyle, thank you so much for doing that research and for teaching attorneys. And I'm sure you're going to learn as you have more cases that are dealing with these different assets.
Yeah, absolutely. No, thank you so much. No, this was great. This was fun.
It is a lot of fun. Okay, so here's my last question that I always have for people. What does divorcing strong mean to you?
Okay, it's always the same question then.
Yes.
For me, it is, when you first started this and you said, I think it's coming out the other side, understanding what happened, and being able to move past it. You accept it, and then you get through it. I'm not saying people forget about it. I'm not gonna say, I haven't been personally divorced myself. I don't think it's something people forget. But if you're able to kind of close that chapter, and I'm gonna say, if you have children with the other spouse or something, obviously that's a lifelong thing, but kind of close the chapter on what that relationship was, what that marriage was, and understand that you're going to be okay, and you're going to get through it. That's kind of what I think of when I hear it.
Oh, well, that's good. And I appreciate that, because I always tell people all the time, this is a temporary state that you're in your life. This is not permanent. There is a beautiful life waiting for you on the other side of this closed chapter. We just got to get you through it. Right?
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Kyle, for your time, your dedication, your research, your willingness to go to the end for your client, for them to be able to get through this. So stronger, I should say. So
absolutely.
Hang in there. Hold on just 1 second, Kyle. Just stay on real quick. So we want to thank everyone for coming on to another episode of the Divorcing Strong podcast. I've been your host, Becky Sampson, with Kyle Sellett. He's in Illinois, so please look at the show notes underneath here. You can contact him directly if you have questions or would like to work with him. That would be awesome. Also, just as a reminder, make sure to download your free divorce terms. This was over 100 divorce legal terms. And whether you have an attorney or you're doing it on your own, please educate yourself. Get yourself in that place where you understand the terminology so you can navigate stronger through the process. So thank you so much for joining us today, and we'll see you on the next episode. Thanks for listening to the Divorcing Strong podcast. This episode is sponsored by Only Subpoenas, where we make subpoenas simple, powerful, and 100% compliant. If you're having a hard time getting the information you need to settle for a fair and equitable divorce, let us help you. Whether you're an attorney or you're navigating divorce on your own, subpoenas can uncover the truth, secure the evidence you need, and level the playing field. To see how we can help, book an appointment by visiting our website at onlysubpoenas.com.